Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to another Supatease video, and these sons of guns are actually doing it. I didn't think they would. I thought it was over. They just announced 12.1 and how much of a major overhaul every class is going to be getting in that patch, so that I thought there's no way they're doing any more class tuning for this patch, and it's just hands up in the air. It is what it is, and we move on with our lives for the rest of the season, but that is not the case. There is a lot of class tuning that they have just announced for the weekly reset, so if you were grinding your gears about the current meta, we're going to see if these changes are going to be enough to stop your gears from grinding. And as always, if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So with next weekly's maintenance, they're looking at PvP and they're looking at PvE. So across the board for both PvE and PvP, Boomkins are getting a 4% damage buff. It's not major in PvP, not really going to have any impact there. I don't know how big of a deal it is in PvE. 4% seems very minor. Feral Druid is getting significant changes for Mythic Plus. And, for Raid. Their overall damage in Raid is low. So these changes are to shore up their single target damage and total Raid damage. So they're getting a 3% damage buff that will not be going in PvP. They're getting a melee auto attack damage by 15% that will be going to PvP. So little auto attacking Feral Druid's going to do a little bit more damage. I don't know what portion of your auto attacks in PvP were actually, it's probably less than 5%, so it's not major. Rip is getting a 5% damage buff, but not in PvP. Rampant Ferocity is getting a damage reduction, though, but not in PvP. So just trying to shift its damage from AoE to single target, which is the distinction between Raid and Mythic Plus balance, with a little teeny tiny buff towards PvP. For Restoration Druids, Restoration's damage compared to other healers is lower than we'd like. We are rebalancing some Restoration Druid damage out of Thrash and into the rest of the kit. What? They're going to buff Resto Druid damage by 15%? Resto Druids are going to be KOing people in PvP. And I thought Resto Druid was doing really well in PvE, isn't it? Maybe Mistweaver was taking over? But it's not. But Bear Form was this meant to be under Guardian Druid? I'm so confused. I don't understand the Mythic Plus meta for Resto Druids to try to comprehend why Bear Form Thrash was an OP thing? And everything else needed to be buffed by 15%? But that seems pretty big in PvP. For Devastation Evoker, 3% damage buff across the board. Again, it's better than nothing. Probably not going to be too major. The 3% guy is working overtime here. Arcane Mage is also getting a 3% damage buff, and I've been playing Arcane. It's actually not felt too bad. In one day, I almost pushed into rank 1. It's not actually feeling that bad, so 3% is pretty nice. For Holy Priest, yeah, this is good. Serenity, 20% healing buff. Sanctify, 20% healing buff. Holy Priest was struggling across the game as a whole, so this is nice for the game as a whole. For Restoration Shamans, they hate you guys. They just they hate you. There is no way that I am reading your healing is increased by 4%, but not in PvP. They either hate you or they play a Resto Shaman and they just think you're all bad and don't know what you're doing and it doesn't need buffs maybe. Because, this, very nice. Very nice. This would have been very nice. Would have definitely been a lot nicer than nothing, But in PvE, a little bit of a 4% tweak there. So, not really anything major there except the Holy Priest buffs and a little bit of 3% against some of the weaker specs across the board in the whole game. PvP. Oh my god, do you see it? Do you see the word? PvP. We're here. We're included. Devourer, Demon Hunter. I am very surprised that this is the only change that they are making for them. What is this? Devourer, Demon Hunters have been performing above expectations, especially in defensive metrics, so self-healing is being reduced. Shattered Souls is now going to heal you for 0.5% of your maximum health per soul fragment, down from 1%. So this is what I was worried about, their self-healing getting buffed, because they added a healing component to their, I can't remember what the ability is called now because I don't have a Devourer Demon Hunter, but it's like their Immolation Aura equivalent of Devourer that used to do damage to you when you put it up. Now it heals you, and I don't know how much that healing versus this healing was the problem, but the healing was definitely really strong. But they're not nerfing your one-shot. No damage adjustment, just a teeny tiny little bit of healing reduction. So Devourer is probably still going to be devouring. For Havoc Demon Hunters, this looks like quite a significant chunk. Havoc Demon Hunters have been difficult to kill, but have not been as successful overall as Devourer. So they are getting some damage compensation alongside the reductions to self-healing and defensive effects. They're getting a 4% damage increase to everything. Soul Rending, though, is now only going to grant 3% leech and an additional 3% in Metamorphosis. This is down from 5% and 5%. Desperate Instincts now causes Blur to reduce damage taken by an additional 5%, down from 10. Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big one on Blur. I feel like you guys got, I mean, you got a little bit of extra damage, but like, I feel like Havoc Demon Hunter damage wasn't that great. Like 4% is probably not, maybe it's, I feel like you guys are getting nerfed harder. I feel like you guys are getting nerfed harder than Devourer a little bit. But they're obviously aware of the survivability of these specs and trying to bring that down a bit. Oh my God, are you guys actually getting nerfed? What is going on with Unholy DK? Oh my God. Unholy's burst damage is overwhelming too frequently. So contributing abilities are receiving a reduction, with some of that overall damage moving into the steadier output from Dread Plague. Putrefy is going to do 15% less damage, and Soul Reaper is going to do 15% less damage. Now, I would have thought that it's the damage modifier on these abilities, not necessarily the ability themselves. Dread Plague, though, is getting a 15% buff. In the current meta, this is a nerf. Because they didn't nerf the burst on Devourer, we haven't seen yet at least. So if they're bringing your burst down, that you're gonna feel weaker. I mean, Unholy DK felt pretty good, but like, I guess we'll see what other melee are included here before we jump to too many conclusions. Guardian Druid, there's actually a tank spec included here. Their Apex talent is getting nerfed again. So Wild Guardians will echo at 50% effectiveness, down from 200%. So Guardian Druid damage is getting ripped out. I did not really think that Guardian was that major, but it's enough to be here. Augmentation Evoker, 8% damage buff. It's better than nothing. I really wish that they made it so Ebon Might doesn't fall off when you're CC'd the same way that the Void Metamorphosis doesn't, or Void Power, whatever it is for Devourer Demon Hunter, because that's the most annoying part about it. But its damage is definitely low, so it's better than nothing for Augmentation Evokers. For Preservation Evoker, they say that it's slightly overperforming in PvP, so we're making one additional targeted nerf to them in this pass. Temporal Burst makes it hard for enemies to react to important casts like Sleepwalk, so we're reducing its effect. Temporal Burst increases haste, movement speed, and cooldown recovery rate by 15%, down from 30. I don't even know he got that buff, and I've been playing one recently, so I mean, the main reason is just because they fly at you and spam sleep at you, while also doing a tremendous amount of throughput with no significant downside. And the Nullifying Shroud with the new Verdant Embrace is still kind of strong. I feel like its duration could have been brought down a little bit. It's better than not nerfing anything on it. I guess we'll see. I mean, 50% on this does seem big. I'm going to have to look at this more specifically on mine to see how huge that is. It seems kind of like slap on the wrist a little bit. But if they think it's only slightly overperforming, I can sort of agree with that. I'd say it's maybe a little more than slight. It's not massively overperforming, but not slightly. You know, this is pedantic, but we'll have to see how major this ends up being. Marksmanship Hunter. Double tap now causes aim shot to fire at 16% effectiveness, or your next rapid fire at 16%, down from 40. Marksmanship got obliterated. That's an obliteration, my marksmanship friends. We're all BM hunters now. They said that they're reducing double shot's burst potential to allow players to have more time to react to Marksmanship Hunter's incoming damage. I feel like they have to add more spells back to Marksman Hunter. Like, if you don't one-shot people, I feel like you're literally an NPC. You just like stand there, aim shot, and like, I feel like it needs a little something. I mean, obviously the one-shot was very egregious, but so it's probably good they're doing this. Double tap's one of those things where it's like they deleted it from the game and they're like, we're bringing it back because Marksman sucks. And then, oh wow, it's too good. Okay, we're gonna nerf the crap out of it, so it's basically deleted again, and then it's gonna suck. And then we're just on this loop until they add something extra to it. I feel like Survival Hunter's getting a 3%. Man, this guy's working. 3% guy, you better be paying him good, man. He's doing PvE buffs and PvP buffs now. So I mean, this is better than nothing. Again, very minor increase, definitely. If this is going to be the last tuning adjustment, still kind of better than nothing. Oh my god, Mage is actually on here. They didn't nerf their defense, though. I mean, they're doing that next patch, I guess, but they're nerfing Ray of Frost by 20%, but they're buffing all of your damage by 3%. See, I think this is good because if you're a new Frost Mage and you don't know how to get a Ray of Frost off, you're useless. If you're a good Frost Mage and you know how to do it, it's really annoying and one-shots you. So I think it's right taking damage with the cooldowns and putting it into the baseline class. I just think that this is going to be really dampening now. They're just going to be really dampy. That's my only concern, because there's no major adjustments to healing output, at least not significantly. So I think, I mean, it should slow down, right? Because a lot of these major ones, except Devour. I guess Devour, Demon Hunter, this is your patch. This is still your patch. Unless that self-healing is somehow massive, which I feel like it's not massive. I think Devour Demon Hunters might be running the show. But Frost is still going to be really tanky. And now you don't have Marksman to counter you. Maybe you're even better, honestly, because the nerf to Marksman was, I feel like, harder than this. Prot Paladin is on here still. Templar's burst capabilities have made Prot Paladin more of an offensive threat than we'd like. Divine Exation now causes Divine Toll at 25% effectiveness, down from 75, and Hammer of Light damage is being decreased by 30%. I haven't even seen it. I saw these for a while, like patch after patch after patch, and then I didn't see them anymore, and even in Battlegrounds. So these are the types of changes I was expecting to see like 2 months ago when Prot, Pally, and Guardian were kind of running people over. Now I feel like you guys are getting floored. Retribution Paladin, they've been performing better than expected. We're applying a small damage reduction, just 3%. You got to do buffs and nerfs 3%, guy. God dang, bro, they are working you overtime. Again, not major. Again, I feel like this is just the game's gonna get kind of. Oh my God, what happened to Disc Priest? Oh my God, what is that? Voidweaver priests are dealing too much damage. We're reducing some of that damage and increasing their healing to compensate. So expiation will deal damage equal to 200% of the amount consumed from Shadow Word Pain. Previously it was 300%. So expiation is a lot less important in your rotation. It's a bit, no, I don't, did they not include, did they meant to, but they're buffing Shadow Word Pain in 3%. I think there's not supposed to be a dot here. There must not need to be a dot here. They must be reducing the healing by 100%. Or by a third, which is pretty significant. And then Inescapable Torment is also going to do 25% less damage. Shadow Word Pain across the board is doing 10% less damage. And Voidweaver Atonement Healing, though, is going up by 15%. That kind of compensates. Your healing is going to be about the same, but the damage is going to be lower. So Oracle Preventative Measures increases damage of Penance, Smite, and Holy Nova by 20%, up from 15%. And Ultimate Penitence is getting a 25%. So I think pretty much everybody, this might be a ripped cord on play Oracle now. I'll test, because I played a lot of Voidweaver. I'll test this, but this could be the end. This could be the end for our Voidweaver friends. Shadow Priest. Oh my God, you got something. You're actually here. They're buffing all your damage by 4%, and they're buffing your Shadow Word Death by 45%. So maybe you're actually gonna have some lethality. I don't know how big again, because of the new damage meter, you can't like look at individual spells anymore and see what they hit for. So I don't know if that's actually a lot. Right? It sounds like a lot. 45%, but I can't remember how hard Shadow Word Death was hitting for, and if I can't remember, it was probably not that hard. Better than nothing. A little bit more than the 3%, guys. They're playing it safe on that side. Oh my God, Restoration Shaman. Oh my God. Okay, maybe they don't hate you. Maybe they don't hate you guys. It was just because there was something better for you guys down below. So they're buffing Farseer. Maelstrom Supremacy Healing increases the effective spells in PvP by 5% basically, and then Hydro Bubble's effectiveness is no longer being reduced. And then heals cast by Ancestors are going to be doing about 10% more. So trying to rebalance the hero tree. It's not. I think Hydro Bubble could be pretty big. I mean, they applied that 20% reduction because it was really strong effect. So maybe some possibility here for Restoration Shaman. So Holy Priest got some love. Restoration Shaman got some love. On this one. They include Arms and Prot in the same one here. We're slightly reducing Colossus's ability to tank damage to make them more viable kill target. Mountain of Muscle and Scars is only going to reduce damage by 3% down from 5%. Okay. So see, some of these changes are going to make the game a little faster for certain specs, but other ones like Mage, I think are still kind of getting off scot-free. Oh my God, Affliction's getting something. The 3% guy, bro. This 3% guy is working miracles right now. Look at this. 3%. He even turned a 5 into a 3. So Affliction got a 3% damage buff across the board. Doesn't really help the balance between Hellcaller and Soul Harvester. All of the top Warlocks tell me that Soul Harvester is best and Hellcaller is trash. I've been playing only Hellcaller because I just want to spite them, I guess. And I'm starting to get up there, like 2800, which is not rank 1 range for Avlock or anything, but I'm going to keep trying to get up there and see what we can do with it. 3% is nice for me. It's obviously nice for them. So probably still a win for them. I've played against some Soul Harvesters head-to-head, and we do about the same damage overall, which is probably means my build is weaker because they have more lethality on Drain Soul. But interesting that I would have thought they would put a distinction there for the hero talent builds. For demonology, oh my god, you're finally getting something. Warlocks are finally getting something, man. They're finally, oh my god, bro. Feels like it's been so long. So Shadow Bolt is getting a 200% damage buff, and Demon Bolt's getting a 30%. Again, 200% sounds very big, but Shadow Bolt was not hitting very hard. Now, these spells are the right spells to buff, for sure. I don't know if those numbers are enough. It's definitely a lot better than nothing. It's a lot more than 3. And then Destruction is also getting a 50% buff on Incinerate. So as an instant Incinerates, maybe some AoE Incinerate builds are going to come through. I'm glad they're buffing the filler, because I think the finishers, honestly, on Destro are pretty good. Like Soulfire or Chaos Bolt are pretty good. Filler abilities feel like they just, yeah, absolutely tickle people, though. So Warlock getting a little bit of like filler buffs here across the board, which is nice. Shadow getting a little bit of a buff here, a little bit of a healer tweak. Preservation Evoker slap on the wrist, I think, unless that thing ends up being major, which it could. I could be totally wrong on that. A little bit of slap of the wrist on Ret Paladins. BM Hunter's a big winner just because it didn't get touched whatsoever. Unholy DKs, unfortunately, I think you guys got absolutely gutted. Poor Unholy DKs, dude. You poor unfortunate souls. I thought that they were turning a new leaf with this expansion. They were going to leave you guys alone. Nope. You guys might be donezo. We'll have to see how big of a deal that is, but usually, especially in the current meta, targeting your burst and buffing your sustain doesn't end too well. Doesn't end too well, unfortunately. And then this Resto Druid thing. Resto Druid might be insane. I don't understand what this Bearform Thrash thing is. And there must be some weird stuff going on in Mythic Plus since the last time I played it. But that's going to be big, I think. 15% on everything is very big. You're going to get some big one-shots, I think. But that's it for this update here. So some changes coming through to anticipate. A lot of little 3% buffs to a lot of the lesser represented specializations. Curious to see if that does move the needle whatsoever. Healer balance, probably the most significant with Shaman and Holy Priest. I'm definitely going to be checking those ones out because I've been playing them up to this point, and they've definitely fell on the weaker side. So I hope you guys enjoyed the update. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.